Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Savannah Humoller, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
It's the day after Christmas. One of the saddest days of the year. We got 364 days. Right? 365. It's leap year next year until the next Christmas.
Wow, good stuff.
And here we are getting ready for the Detroit Lions and Ring of Honor ceremony for Jimmy Johnson as we move past Christmas Eve right into the day after Christmas. Mm-hmm. This is Mick Shots here inside the SWBC podcast studio. And I'm looking around the room. Clearly, I got a Christmas present that I am wearing today. Just a new hoodie.
All right.
That's new for you, Everson?
Sir.
Okay.
So comfortable.
This was Christmas present from the Cowboys last year.
Oh.
Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Cotton Bowl, right?
Cotton Bowl, baby.
Hey, baby.
They're in the Cotton Bowl this year.
But this was last year.
Okay, moving on.
You asked about Christmas presents.
And Savannah, did you have a good Christmas?
I had a great Christmas. I have a couple new rings that I got.
You looked down at your rings. I'm like, oh,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Look at the bling.
From Mom.
See, it's definitely blinging, right?
From Mom.
Well, that's sweet. All right, so something went well over the Christmas weekend then, right?
Presents?
Yeah, we got presents.
We watched a lot of football.
We did watch a lot of
Watched
football.
a lot of football.
Mm-hmm.
It was
And
exciting. God,
There's some good games.
it really was.
Good games this weekend.
there were. Then there was one game that didn't end so well.
No, it did not.
Mickey was there.
I was.
Mickey has
I almost had the score right.
you had it 32-30, which would have been the
22 to 20.
He had it 32-30, which would, I guarantee you, would have been the only time in Cowboys history there was a 32-30 game, and this may have been the first time for a
22-20, right?
So, and Mickey has just emerged from the locker room where a ton of Cowboys players are talking about the day after Christmas and looking ahead to the Detroit Lions.
I
right?
volunteered to do the transcript today because there's nothing to transcribe. Yeah, it was pretty quiet in there. I can tell you what guys said after the game.
Okay.
We're all ears.
As a matter of fact, I just turned to the page here and I saw it said somebody first went up to DeMarcus Lawrence and he said, "We lost. The score was 20-22, the end."
That was it?
And then he finally relented and talked. And my thing from Micah Parsons, when I asked him about the roughing penalty before he did a group thing, he said, I asked him, I said, "So what did the referee tell you about the roughing penalty?" And he said, "I should have pulled off." And he goes, and that was going to be a field goal. Or that's a field goal, however he put it. It's like, you guys heard it on TV, so I don't need to go over what Blandino said or Greg Olson said. There's no way he could have pulled off because he got there so fast.
Right.
He got there untouched, right? And then I love the picture that got put on social media of two guys holding him, one guy's hands in his face mask, and there was no call. So go figure.
He was, he wanted to make it known. Just why me? Why is this happening?
I'm glad of that, too.
Did you see the picture?
I did not. No, I didn't see the picture.
It's on the story of him after the game on the website.
But, they could call something every play on him in regards to.
Well, how about just one?
How about just one?
Just one.
Yeah. And it seems that they are so accustomed to him being accosted that they just say, well, you know what? that's just his, cross to bear.
Right.
I
It
think
just
Jerry
seems like-
put it well. Was it this morning on the radio?
I listened to part of it and then I didn't hear the
but
rest.
he can make plays that other players can't make, and the officials need to be able to anticipate that this is a special player who can get to the court. Because a lot of time, holding is based, because you can say there's holding on virtually every play.
Yeah.
The holding is based on whether it
affects
the play, right? And when you're holding a Micah Parsons who can get to the quarterback like this,
Oh my God!
then Everson is just Savannah has shown Everson the picture.
I mean, but this happens almost like half his plays are like this.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Just go to DallasCowboys.com and pull up the story on Micah Parsons, and you can see the picture.
That's hilarious right there.
Right?
That is so funny.
But you're right. It's good that he's talking about it.
Yeah.
Because
He
now
needs to talk about it.
Now the
Yeah.
narrative gets out there,
That's
just
right.
like all these
That's
other
right.
narratives get
That's
out
right.
there. Now there's he's being held, and they're going to have to address it.
And he has been a bit quiet about it. He really has. And so, that might be his own fault, is being so, humble that, he doesn't necessarily think he deserves it over
Right.
anyone else, but he really does, because he's better than mostly anyone else.
And it's not like sour grapes, but when you lose by 2 points, and we did this last week when they lost by 20 points or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can pick out a couple plays that turn the game around.
And one of them was on the last drive of the game.
Right.
And one
Yeah.
of the best tackles of the game was performed by the offensive guard for the Dolphins on Damone Clark.
Oh, wow.
An outside run.
Yeah. And
And that's something that you're looking for on an outside run.
Right.
You see that called all the time. That is when on an outside run, that is when holding usually occurs.
because the guys are trying to get out, and then you're not out. And
Right.
You don't. And it just
Which would have just mean it was a 57-yard, or I say 57 because he made a 57-yarder.
Right.
Would have pushed him back to a 50-yard field goal instead of the chip shot.
Right.
or you never know what happens after it.
That's
when
right.
You have to play that down with another 10 yards
right.
lost.
That's right.
Instead of a 15-yard gain to the 50-yard line. Because when that happened, it was like, well, the way that guy's kicking, this game's over. He's gonna make a 50-yarder.
Right.
All they got to do is get to the 38-yard line or so. So, but it was things like that just, it matters. And, so, I mean, this loss to me was different than getting, obviously from a score standpoint of what happened in Buffalo, because you were down, you were up, you were down, you came back, and you had a chance to win the game, and you needed one more stop,
Right.
and you couldn't get it.
But when it's all said and done,
Yes.
the game didn't matter. It did not matter as far as anything in regards to the playoffs, because the Eagles, whether the Cowboys won or lost that game, the Eagles have to lose a game
Right.
in order for the Cowboys to win the division.
Right.
The Cowboys are in the exact same spot after that game as far as winning the division as they were before the game, which is they have to win out and the Eagles have to lose a game. And now there's just 2 more shots for the Eagles to lose a game against teams that are playing for a better draft pick.
And that was a good game to watch yesterday with the Giants and Eagles. They were
Would have
catching
been
up to
nice if the
Eagles.
Giants would have started Tyrod Taylor at quarterback to start the
Come
game
on,
rather
man.
than
We
just
got
start the second half.
The DeVito story's out there. We can't kill it now. It has
Yeah,
a
but
mind of its own.
He got an interception return for a touchdown, right? It wasn't like he lit it up.
Well, but still, they did rally. And how about the opening kickoff of the second half?
Was that funny? That was hilarious. I'm sitting up here thinking, this is going to be another boring half.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
20 to
what just
3.
happened?
Like, what is
so
going
it's
on?
so it's 20 to 3, and Philadelphia is getting the football first to start the second half. And then I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but Zacchaeus' his last name. He gets flung around by Isaiah
he just
Simmons.
got knocked backwards.
Well,
His momentum.
it was like, yeah, but he was, and so now he's all of a sudden running full speed, the opposite direction, right into Boston Scott. Fumble, Isaiah Simmons recovers.
That was hilarious. Isaiah
You have to look it up,
Isaiah
Mickey.
did a hell of a job on that
I think
play.
I saw.
Isaiah was the one that actually
Isaiah
knocked him
caused
into-
it.
Yes,
Yeah,
he did.
Right. It's just like what DeMarcus Lawrence was doing early in the Cowboys game down on the goal line. D-Law wasn't getting credited on the stat sheet with anything, but he was making the plays on the edge.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was.
That kept the Dolphins
holding
out of the
that
end
edge.
zone.
He was holding the edge.
Yeah, right. And he caused the, I think it was Armstead who went down with the injury on the first play. And Armstead made the tackle on the running back, basically, because D-Law had hit him so hard and knocked him back. And he was trying to recover. And then he poked Waddle in the eye accidentally. So he was out.
The other way, 2 for 1.
That's right.
I was very impressed with the ability for the defense to stop the pass rush. I mean, they really didn't have that many running yards. I mean, it was total 91. So big difference, I think, from that.
So the rushing yards.
The rushing yards.
The rushing yards
So,
for Miami.
I just mentioned it on the radio. I said it's like going to the fair and playing whack-a-mole. Thing pops up, you hit it. Well, another one pops up. So what did we talk about all last week after giving up 266 yards rushing? Oh, my God, Miami with Mostert and Achan, they're going to run for 300 yards.
Right.
And they held them,
That's
as
what we thought,
Savannah
yeah.
just said, 91 yards. But then they threw for almost 300 yards.
Right.
And they did not get enough pressure on the quarterback.
Well, once that back foot hits, well, in his case, his left foot, he's going to get rid of it. He knew what was coming. He was able to get it off quick enough to where the pass rush was insignificant.
But right at the beginning of the game, he stood back there all day to throw that 50-yard pass.
Right.
You know,
Well, they had max protection.
they
and everything
only
like
sacked him one time. They didn't have more than a half dozen quarterback hits, like 4 or 5. As opposed to Dak getting sacked 4 times
Yeah,
and
hit
getting
like
hit
12.
12.
Yeah.
12 times. And there were others that he had to run away from not getting hit. And to me, that ended up being a significant difference in the game.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we still got 3 minutes before we need to take a break.
Well,
So-
and then we can go back to 2nd and 1 at the 2. You don't score. You get 1 darn yard. Okay, got a first down until you botch the handoff.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, that's 7 points. You're never going to
That was the game right there.
And what did they do, by the way? Won the opening toss and took the
There
ball.
you go. There you
And
go.
they were going to be up 7-0.
You know, one thing, though, and back to the fumble on the goal line, okay, one of the key factors in this game was the Dolphins' ability to get off the goal line in that situation and the Cowboys' inability to get off the goal line when they were faced twice with a similar situation from their own 2-yard line and their own 5 or 6 yard line. And that's where the offense got grounded at that point in the game. And we were wondering, okay, CD gets so involved in the first quarter, and then where'd he go in the second and third quarter? Well, that one thing about the defense, you got to get off the field. How many possessions did the Dolphins have, and how many possessions did they score on? Now, they were field goals. The defense did a good job of keeping them out of the end zone, but I'm pretty sure there was only one possession, the first possession of the first half, where the Dolphins had a 3-and-out and didn't put points on the board.
So they scored on 6 of 9 possessions.
6 of 9, and let me take a look at that real quick. They were...
And 5 field goals.
They're
1 touchdown.
Okay. So, opening possession of the game was but they get off the goal line from the 2-yard line.
The 2-yard
whatever.
line, and they moved the ball.
Right. And what they did on the first down is they got 6 yards, and the Cowboys aren't able to run the football off the goal line to get some breathing room where they can throw. And then obviously the strategy was get some breathing room, and then you're going deep. They went to deep to Tyreek, who dropped the ball, and then they hit Waddle to get out of there, and now they're at midfield, and here we go.
And they even survived the delay of game when 3rd and 4 went 3rd and 8. And I wrote down no pressure.
So, okay.
50-yard pass.
You mentioned 5 or 6 of 9 on possessions. Well, one of them, they made the choice to go for it on 4th down on the goal line.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys get a stop there. But they were in scoring position there. The first possession of the third quarter was a punt. And then they also had a punt in the fourth quarter, taken over at their own 25. So the defense came up with 2 stops there in the second half. But you got to get them off the field. You can't let them drive the length of the field. And anyway, next up, let's talk about the defense and how many DBs were on the field during this game when we come back here on Mick Shots.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Did you know that responding to one spam call can lead to more? Or that the IRS would never ask for your social security number on the phone? Beat scammers at their own game by subscribing to AARP Fraud Watch Network alerts and texts. At aarp.org/beatscammerstx, you can sign up to receive information that helps you recognize and avoid the latest scams. That's aarp.org/beatscammerstx.
To Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, the official roofer of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right. Cowboys fall to the Dolphins 22-20, and now a game back of the Eagles, who survived against the Giants on Christmas Day. Now we look forward to Saturday and the Detroit Lions coming to town, a Lions team that survived against Minnesota and won their first division title in 30 years, 1993. It's the last time they won the division.
Who was that?
Detroit.
Oh, Detroit. Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
I was thinking about something else.
You sure were.
Well, you know what I was thinking about was the last thing Everson said before he left us for the rest of the week was that just be careful. It's hard to beat somebody twice in 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And the way the Giants or the Eagles played that game yesterday, I'm thinking, all right.
You're telling me there's a chance the last game of the regular season, the Giants at home with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback.
They're still upset about the loss. They said it was a pass interference in the end zone on the last attempt. So I'm telling you, it's just a tough thing to do. It's something
they didn't belabor it, but there was.
Yeah.
Was it the tight end that got knocked down?
Yes, it was.
I saw him laying on the ground. I said, how did he get on his back?
Look, he threw the ball where there was no Giants wide receivers. How do you figure that?
Right.
Obviously, they were all being, kept out of there. So, no, it was too much. I really wanted to go over and have Bill make up for that joke you tried to tell. I was on X this morning, and that pops up, and I'm like, okay.
Was that the first time you saw the joke?
Yes. Yeah. I didn't know you tried.
Missed it.
Yeah, it was
so classic.
It was horrible.
What do you mean it was horrible?
You didn't finish it.
He couldn't. Because it was so goofy.
It was so corny. You were in it, man.
I was.
Boy, you had your voice. The delivery was there. The timing was there.
We knew
and then I couldn't spit it out.
Man, you couldn't.
I couldn't spit it out. Rudolph,
will
you guide my sleigh tonight?
See? I didn't really hear all of that.
The best part was our reaction.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, yeah.
He called his backup quarterback, who's kind of a loner, not liked by any of the other his teammates, or as the fan base there in Pittsburgh. They
Cleveland Browns
been a third-string quarterback. They can bring in this another reindeer called Trubisky, and let him guide the sleigh for a while. And called him in and said, Rudolph, will you guide my sleigh tonight? And sure enough, he did.
The best was when you texted us after in the group message and you said yesterday was Rudolph's Day. And today belongs to Blitzen. Blitzen Marquise Bell.
And then turns out Marquise Bell didn't play. 31 snaps for Marquise Bell in the game. So what was going on, Mickey, with the linebacker situation in this game? As
what linebackers?
We had if you look at the
you got the snap
counts. Yep. Jaron Kearse played every snap, 65 snaps in the game, and it looked like, I haven't gone through the whole coach's film, but it looks like virtually every one of them was at a linebacker position, and it was Damone Clark who, and Kearse was credited with 2 tackles in the game. Clark credited with 7 tackles on 43 of the 65 snaps, so not on the field for 22 snaps. And Marquise Bell had 31 snaps in the game, and so he didn't make 50% of the snaps in the game. So what was the strategy here? And the Cowboys basically, when you consider Kearse has been a safety in his career, throughout his career, so you look of him as being a defensive back who was playing up in the box. The Cowboys had 5 DBs who played virtually every snap. Outside of Gilmore came off the field for 1 play.
Because he got hurt.
Yeah, right. And they had a 6th DB, Hooker, who had 48 snaps, so he was on the field for 75% of the snaps. So basically, they had, for 75% of the snaps, they had 6 DBs on the field.
And they threw for
300 plus, almost 300.
293 yards.
And we talked about that, and only 91 yards rushing. So clearly, with the speed that the Dolphins have,
they adapted.
They wanted to get as much speed on the field themselves.
Right.
Yeah. And thus hardly any pressure on the quarterback, which they needed in this game. Where's my defensive? The way they put their thing together.
How often did they blitz?
I didn't see a blitz. So Parsons had 3 quarterback hits. Armstrong had 1. And somebody else had to have 1 because they had 5.
Well, the Dolphins had 12 quarterback hits.
Yes. They gave Odighizu a hit, but the guy in the press box called it diggity. Diggity zoo. It was pretty funny.
No diggity, no doubt. You got to know that song.
Diggity dog.
That's a rhythm and blues song. No diggity, no doubt.
Diggity zoo. Yeah. And they still held them to 22 points. That was the thing.
Well, it was a bend and don't break situation.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they let them get down.
They gave up the 150-yarder, and then after that, Hill's longest catch was 20, and they had a 21 and an 18. and a 19, but only one 50-yarder, and I think that was the one that they were most worried about.
Well, I think.
And they did well getting Waddle out of the game. Just go poke the guy in the eye. How does that happen?
I don't know, but I don't know how Gilmore let that deep pass happen.
He just didn't know it was coming his way. But you
gotta
should turn
know,
around.
dude. They're gonna go deep. That's what they do.
He just didn't react because there was no move.
I would be lined
right?
up 15 yards waiting on the dude. I mean, you know what they're gonna run. You know that this is their moment. They're playing at home. That would have been a pretty good way for him to anticipate that play. And as a veteran, I really thought that's what he was going to do. Everyone in my house knew it was going to be a deep pass. And I know he had to be thinking that, but it's like he was looking for another route.
Yeah.
Like he saw something different.
Because he reacted.
The receiver never showed him
It was the
anything.
delayed reaction.
Yes.
And they just had run it on the other side of the field with Tyree.
I don't understand what he was thinking about. He's our veteran. He's a guy that I thought that those kind of things right there, they stop great plays from happening.
Yeah.
They stop great moments for the other team. If he covers that, then, we're looking at maybe a 3 and out. We're looking at them being backed up, and we'll be in good field position if we can hold them to a punt.
So what Jerry was talking about today was in games like that, there's key plays. So you see them get that. Mm-hmm. You see the Cowboys botch a handoff at the 1 yard line. Which was just weird looking at it from whatever angle they had when they showed it, because he had his arms like this, and it never went like in his hands. It hit his chest.
Yeah.
Well, why do you think that is?
Well, I was
because he didn't close he didn't close it down.
Maybe he didn't.
Maybe
wasn't
he thought
expecting to get the ball.
I don't think, and
That's the only.
He scored. He scored.
Oh, I'm sitting there. I go,
scored.
What are they waiting for? He's in the end zone. And I'm going, you got to have the ball, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Maybe there is the option on that.
Yeah.
Like a zone read.
Yeah.
So
well,
to
you know
speak.
what? I don't think they would give him that much to think about. We put you in here to score.
No,
Here,
but he
bro.
stuck it in there.
Yeah, here, take it. So
He was trying
no
at that point.
options. They had no options. This is for you, man. This is
Yeah.
for you and Bill Jones, because Bill Jones talks about you all the time in freaking Mick shots. I don't want to hear another doggone thing about
He was
Hunter.
doing great, though.
Oh,
But
shut up.
think
I don't
about-
want to hear another Hunter comment in this podcast.
He had.
That was it. That was the
think-
game.
I
He
think
had two-
It's
two-
a rookie.
I talked about you so bad at my house.
Oh no.
But you realize they obviously had that in the game plan, because they went back to him 2 more times, and he got a first down on a 2-yard run and
I
a
was
1-yard
bragging,
run.
boy. I said, that's the one Bill Jones is always talking about. Yeah, this guy.
Right,
Hey,
he
Hunter,
fumbled.
hey, he's from the area, guys. I'm
Lucky.
talking trash. Oh, he scored a touchdown. Oh, damn. This guy.
I think
Bill should
before
stop.
that play even happened, the Tony Pollard run
Yes.
should have been a touchdown
Yes.
initially. He didn't run into the corner of the end zone.
Thank
He
you.
decided to cut through a couple
Thank
guys
you.
that are trying to make like a push at the
Yes.
same time. So
Yes.
he should have just run to the corner, and this might be a different conversation.
I agree with that, except for which track to take. I thought that if you're going to stop and cut it back, he ran into his own man.
Exactly.
You see, if you're
He's
going to
like-
do it, you got to wait a little bit more, because that guy's coming, but you can still split it. And he could have, even though he may have gotten hit, you could still put the ball over the goal. It's right there. I know you're going to get hit, but if you could just reach that there, come on, man.
He turned sideways.
That's the problem.
It
Well, he got
reminded-
turned sideways because he hit his own man.
But sideways is good for
It's
wine,
not the way to
but
go.
not for running backs.
It's not the way to go.
Well, the play, and I can't remember who we were playing, but when it was almost a similar play with Luke Schoonmaker at the goal
That was
line
against Philly.
and he
Yeah.
barely, it's right there, and it was almost, it was like, wow, like kind of deja vu
That's
a
when
little
we
bit.
were having red zone problems. Then we had remedied our red zone problems, but they came back this game. And it started with the Pollard man, I don't care if you run to the pylon or if you run up. It's only right here. You got to be able to make that ball go across, whether through your body or with a reach, like most guys do. I mean, we can't miss out on those opportunities. And running back should be instinctive enough to know how to put that ball across the end zone. It shouldn't be a bunch of explanation about it. Just get the ball over there. You
Right.
had space.
Right.
Use it.
And if you think about it, they had 2 2 4th-and-1 conversions, and a 3rd-and-1 conversion. So here it was again, and they didn't convert.
They did convert on the Pollard play. He was 2nd and 1. He got the first down.
Got the first down, yeah. That's 7 points. Can't let that happen.
But as I mentioned earlier, the Cowboys had red zone problems getting out of the red zone.
Yes.
And as McCarthy colorfully called it, put the blame on himself for his game plan, getting off the backup game plan, backed up on your own goal line.
We can't run the ball, guys. That's why we can't get out of the red zone.
And in fact, to that,
they outran the Dolphins
at the 6-yard line. Well, but from your own end zone, handoff to Rico for nothing. This was at 11:02 of the second quarter, backed up at your own 6-yard line. And then Dak runs, and you get a holding call on Tyler Smith that backs you up to the 3. Now you got 2nd and 13. Dak +2. Now you're 3rd and 11. And you wound up getting off the goal line because of a penalty, but you weren't able to sustain the drive after that. Then in the third quarter, backed up at your own 2-yard line, and Pollard for 1 yard, incomplete. It was a blitz by the linebacker, Duke Riley, that fouled that play up, and then another incompletion. You're punting from your own 3-yard line.
And so they're blitzing us, but we're not blitzing them. I don't understand that philosophy.
And you know what? They changed their game plan after those first 2 drives. Because they
mean Miami?
Miami, yeah.
They came to the conclusion, number one, we can't cover them. And so the object became, we got to go after Dak. And that's the way we'll slow down their passing game. And they did it for 2 quarters because they started blitzing. And they were blitzing, and I don't know if you guys could see it on TV, but both safeties at times were 20 yards off the line of scrimmage. Yeah. And I'm sitting there going, okay, the question is going to be, how come they're not throwing deep? Well, to throw deep, to get by the safeties, you're going to have to throw it 40 yards in the air.
Right.
And they were saying, no, we'll deal with their running game. And that's the other part of this running game. They don't challenge the end zone in the running game. So teams are saying, go ahead, have all you want in front of us, but we're not going to let you run past us because you can't.
Well, that's kind of the way we were defensively as well.
Right.
We've stayed off. We played zone, looked like. We didn't blitz.
But they did.
And so when you have a quarterback who's having the issues that he's had, you want to put a little fear into him. I thought that they should at least, show some blitz.
Well, Miami had linebackers in the game.
Yeah. And they were using them.
And one of them's a backup linebacker, Riley. David Long was a start at the beginning of the season, but they were missing their best linebacker. He was out for the year, just like the Cowboys. And then this Van Ginkel, number 43, he's a really good. He's a really good player.
He's the guy that did a lot of the blitzing.
But what he's done, and with there's no such thing anymore in this league as a 3-4 defense.
Right.
But that's what Fangio's been known for in the past before it went to all hybrid. But Van Ginkel, who's a 243-pounder, I think, he can play as an inside linebacker, or they lost Jalen Phillips to an injury, Achilles injury, and Van Ginkel has been the guy who has filled in there, and he's got 5 or 6 sacks in the last month.
Well, they've allowed him to do what he does.
Right, and he can cover a guy down the field too, And
he had 10 tackles, 7 solo, 3 assists, and then 1.5 sacks in this game.
And go to the next one. 4 quarterback hits.
Yeah,
he was in the backfield the whole game,
and he's been playing like that. Coming into this game, I thought 43 is my favorite player on that Dolphins.
So why can't we allow our defense to show that type of ability?
Well,
you can only do that by blitzing.
They've done that
and
before.
Putting pressure on little guys like Tua. You have to put pressure on. You saw what they did last night with Baltimore against Purdy. They made him look like a child. They made him look like a little kid. So
they did.
You have
That's so true.
Here's the other part of it.
Pressure.
Here's the other part with the Dolphins defense. They've got 2 of the best interior defensive linemen in the league, in Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer. And Wilkins, and these are guys who can pressure the quarterback too. Wilkins has a career high 8 sacks, and now I think Sealer's up to 7.5 or 8 sacks now after getting one the other day, number 92. and a guy out of Ferris State. And he has emerged as a real player in this league. And then they got Bradley Chubb on the other side.
So what do we have?
And we've got.
See what
that's
I'm
right.
saying? So whatever we have, I want to hear the Miami people talking about, how they were used perfectly, how they were used to upset Tua's, passing system. His
Part
timing.
of it is with Miami, he gets the ball out
We
so
sat back
quickly.
and just played catch and release.
Yeah.
We just sat back and let them catch it, and then we release. That's it.
Their offensive scheme, that he gets rid of the ball so quickly, it's almost like you can't get to him.
Well, you can't knock balls down because he's.
Right.
I'm sure I'm taller than he is, so you can get up there.
Get in
If
passing
you put
lanes.
pressure in his face with blitzes, then you're gonna have knockdowns.
And then you get,
And then
you have some passes defense in the box score. And
That's
how
it.
many passes defense did the Cowboys have in this game? Zero. You don't have to
Zero?
look it up, Mickey. Zero PDs in this game for the Cowboys.
You got to give your
And they
DBs
had-
help. You got to
they
give
had
your
three.
secondary
They had
help.
3, and a couple of them are defensive linemen knocking balls down, I think.
And one forced fumble. Can't get away from one forced fumble.
So I mean, I
who
don't think we're
forced the fumble?
using them well. I don't think we're using them correctly.
Jones, I believe it was. No. Forced fumble was, it was
Because
Jones.
the one fumble that the
Brandon
Cowboys
Jones?
had,
Seiler recovered. It was a significant.
that wasn't a forced fumble.
They gave him a.
They gave him a forced fumble. That's what I'm asking. They gave a Dolphins player a forced fumble for the botched handoff.
No.
There's no way. All right, Mickey's going to check
You know
on
what?
that.
There's-
And we're
There's
coming
something
back.
There's
Clean
something
it up.
messed up because
Yeah.
they got one forced fumble and no forced fumbles and one fumble recovery.
There
I
you go.
take it
Right,
back.
yeah, I see. All right.
Yeah.
All right, we continue with
right
more
track.
mixed shots in a moment.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Did you know that responding to one spam call can lead to more? Or that the IRS would never ask for your social security number on the phone? Beat scammers at their own game by subscribing to AARP Fraud Watch Network alerts and texts. At aarp.org/beatscammerstx, you can sign up to receive information that helps you recognize and avoid the latest scams. That's aarp.org/beatscammerstx.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Back to mixed shots.
DeMarcus Lawrence is the Dallas Cowboys nominee for the 2023 Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award presented by Nationwide. Help Tank raise funds for Dak Prescott's Faith Fight Finish Foundation by casting your vote on NFL.com/Man of the Year or tweet your support using the hashtag WPMOY Challenge. Voting ends January 8th. Vote for Tank.
All right, very good. Final few minutes here of mix shots, and Mickey's looking through his legal pad. He not only has filled up.
We have a text from Nate in Frisco.
Oh yeah.
What is he saying?
The reason they keep playing Curse is because the other guys cannot get the system down. Is that true, Spags?
I have no idea.
Well, Nate knows more than you.
He knows about systems, huh?
He knows what's going on in that locker room. I mean, my question is, how long do we keep going with hybrids? When anytime that we have an unsuccessful outing, it's because most of the time we keep giving up the run. How long do we keep going with hybrids?
And the thing I've noticed these last 2 weeks with Detroit, they do a pretty good job running the football.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
That.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's my big concern. My big concern.
I saw it on the schedule.
It worked to an extent against the Dolphins. Okay, 91 yards rushing, whatever. But there were times where you had to stop the run, like at the end of the game.
The chain still moved.
Right.
That's why what I always say. It's not the numbers. It's when you it's when you make them.
It's when you got them backed up after your fumble on the goal line.
Yeah.
In the first play, they run right at
7 yards.
One of your safeties playing linebacker, and you get 6 yards. Yeah, that's right. And then, so now going forward, the makeup of your roster is, okay, what are you going to do when you play a team like Buffalo, and they're going to run it and run it and run it some more? Because part of the reason that they made the lineup adjustment probably was based off of what happened in Buffalo last week.
Well, even if you don't run the ball, if you play the Cowboys, we're going to put some run plays in there because they haven't stopped them yet. That's what you have. That's the cross that you have to bear. That's on you because you created that yourself as a defense.
So it'll be interesting to see if, and two things that I think affected both of those things we talked about. Tyron Smith was missing, and he was missing, believe me.
There's some video evidence of that.
You saw it? And at least I saw him walking through the locker room. I don't even think anybody tried to get a grunt out of him, but he was walking well.
And Jerry said earlier today he's hopeful he will play on Saturday against the Lions.
Because those injections have worked in the past.
Guys, Tyron's been playing all year.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, he missed 4 or 5 games.
Early on?
2 early, and then there was a couple later on that he missed.
So while we've been playing well and had our little streak going, Dak's still been getting hit, whether Tyron's playing or not. So, we still have the same sacks. We still have the same number of hits. It doesn't change whether you've got Zach in there or Tyron in there.
Actually, there was a stretch where they weren't getting to Dak.
Yeah. No,
and
there was.
That was against the Giants, Carolina, and Washington.
Yeah, interesting. That's so impressive. Thank you for bringing that up, Bill. I appreciate that.
The Giants, Carolina,
that totally counts as my statement that I just made. Yes, thank you so much. I mean,
But when they started playing Seattle, Philadelphia, Buffalo, Miami, all of a sudden he's getting sacked 3 or 4 times a game.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I think we have to look for this week is Jonathan Hankins to see exactly where he's at.
Didn't sound hopeful this morning.
What's going on
the radio?
What's going on?
Well, he's got a high ankle sprain, and he's 325
That's a big
pounds.
Man. Yeah, for a high ankle sprain.
Now, he said, I'm trying for last week, but I'm thinking those high ankle sprains are usually 2, usually 4 weeks, right? Maybe 3 if you're lucky. And so I would think he misses 1 more. We'll see where that one goes. And, they missed his presence there. But again, at least they kind of shut down the edge, and that's where Buffalo made their money, was on the edge. So, you fix that, and then something else.
Here comes another one.
My whole thing is, after 2 losses to teams that are good, you have to gain your confidence back to go in and beat another winning team. And I think that's the biggest thing for this week. And Micah was saying that in his postgame as well. You have to get that confidence back up in the locker room.
I'm going to throw a softball to Mickey. Did you like when Micah was lining up at middle linebacker?
Did he make a tackle too? Yes. Just do it. And let him blitz.
And then
he even dropped in coverage, I saw.
And then he counts among linebackers on the field.
Yes.
So you do have a linebacker on the roster.
Yeah, except he's at defensive end.
Right.
Well,
because they can't hold him as well.
Hybrids will be the death of us all.
They can't hold him as well if he's a linebacker because he gets a running start, right? Instead of when you're on the line of scrimmage, they just grab him. Nothing happens.
Yeah, they grab him. They sure do grab him all over his face and everything.
And he's basically undersized when you're I don't know what they got him listed at.
You know, when I see that picture that
you like that?
Well, no, Savannah's picture, it's
the Michael Parsons one?
Yes, it's in the open. It's not like this. That was on the line of scrimmage.
No, it's
like
right by the quarterback too.
Yeah, he's like right there. And boom. How do you miss that as a referee? Because you're looking at the quarterback, you're looking at him because he's the closest. You're looking at there, you look at. I just don't know.
That was the mailbag question for me for Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like, what can they do about it? And I'm like, I wish I had an answer for the guy.
So, Mickey, you going to go spend some time hanging out at the Mizzou team hotel this week?
I hear that their band is practicing in Flower Mound either Wednesday or I think Wednesday or Friday. Yeah.
Okay.
I might have to go to that. And then,
wait, can you record the fight song? Can you record the fight song for us?
Yes, I will, and I'll bring it to Bill.
Why are you going to the band practice?
Did
you play in the band?
It's 3 miles from my house.
Did you play in the band?
No, but it's to support the band.
And he has to get the audio for the fight song.
That's right.
Parents are the only ones
then
that
Thursday morning,
record the fight song.
Thursday
if they ever
morning,
play, if they play a fight song, something that sounds like a fight song, record it.
He wouldn't recognize
it.
He would not recognize
just watch the Cotton Bowl and you'll hear it enough.
I hear you, buddy.
And then Thursday morning is the coach's breakfast.
Oh,
now that would be cool.
You're planning to go to that, I assume.
I know you're going to that.
I've got my tickets for that.
Have they asked you to speak?
No, but I'm hoping the quarterback's going to throw a ball because last time
he throws.
Like at the luncheon.
I went to the
luncheon.
The little toy footballs they throw out to the crowd, and Mickey's going to be there.
They were playing Arkansas. Our quarterback.
Take it away from a kid.
Take it, boom.
Our quarterback, Chase Daniel, hit the guy from 30 yards out off the stage right in the hands.
Really?
Their guy at Arkansas hit the table somewhere. And I said, we got this guy.
I don't think there's any players at that breakfast, by the way.
The luncheon I'm talking about.
I know, but
you said breakfast.
You said, I hope the quarterbacks are throwing.
Yeah, I said I hope. I didn't say they were. I just said I hope, like they did at the luncheon.
That's crazy.
Okay. All right, and that's Friday night, Mizzou and Ohio State University in the
jealousy
Cotton Bowl.
in here from people that pull for other teams that aren't in the Cotton Bowl.
I'm promoting the fact that Missouri's playing at AT&T Stadium on Friday
night. And all the ads are on
Bowl.
TV, too. Did you see the running back, Schrader? Might be the best running back in the country.
That's true.
Really?
Have you seen him?
He didn't win the Doak Walker Award like Ollie Gordon did.
He should have. He led the SEC in rushing.
He walk on. He won the
from Division II. By the way,
Mickey, why are you so bitter?
Because I like to support my team.
There you go, man. There you go.
Okay, that does it for Mick Shots. A parting Mick shot.
That's right.
From Mizzou Mick. And we will shout, or Mickey will shout at you tomorrow at high noon.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!